decided to do a tiny zigzag stitch on this because I didn't want to bother. It's a basement. I didn't want to bother with a double hem to fish through. So I'm just running it along at the quarter inch here. You wondered why I said it was a blessing that we had to grieve for our dog. I mentioned the elephant in the room. When we got home, probably on and off for about 2 weeks, we would just start to cry. We would see little things like the dog's toys or his dish, and we had to put away his stuff, and we had to clean up. We had to bury the dog and have a kind of a funeral. It was the middle of winter, lots of snow, so we had to wrap him in tarps and store him in the driving shed until we can get down to the ground to bury him. And I had lots of pictures and videos of that dog. And every once in a while I just burst into tears for no reason. And I was doing a death journal, picture, drawing, painting, whatever, of my experiences of fear. But I was afraid to talk to Eric about, even though lots of people were saying, did you get your will ready, all that kind of stuff. I almost felt like everybody expected Eric to pass away and me to be a widow. I didn't even want to go down that road. I thought, maybe foolishly, maybe not, that if I didn't keep the faith and believe in the prophecy that God had given Eric, I didn't get it. Eric had a vision and a prophecy that God would heal him. And so he was hanging on to that. Now, he did admit half a year later there were moments where he had to reclaim that prophecy when his pain was bad or the treatments weren't making him happy or didn't seem to be doing much. But anyways, he would reclaim his faith. He would say, you know, I do believe. And he would tell people about the prophecy of God healing him. I didn't get that vision. And so I had to make sure I did not allow my mind to doubt that we would have years left together. There's power in the positive thinking. There is power in the energy you have when you have faith in something. And although I personally am not Jesus Christ and can't move mountains, he promises us if we pray believing, we can expect miracles. So I prayed believing. We had numerous people praying, believing. We were on Facebook, and many people would continually Facebook us and tell us that they were praying and believing. Lots of encouragement from that. But we also had many other people saying, like at the Death Cafe, what if and what will you do later when you're alone, that kind of stuff. So it was not easy. It was a wrestling match. Having the dog pass away finally opened the door where we could talk about death. We'd lost so many people in the last 2 years to cancer. Right after that, or actually just before that, in November, a close friend of ours died from cancer. So we were, and one of my very best friends had died, just months before that of cancer. So it was not an easy thing. It wasn't just, I believe and that's it, happy-go-lucky, let's plan our future. We literally lived faith day by day. Day by day, we were able to finally talk about it and admit that we both, me more than him, I was terrified of being here left alone. And he was terrified of leaving me alone. So we give it all to God. The future, the days, the pain, the illness. And having the dog pass away opened the door for us to actually talk about our pain. We cried together, and it was just not about the dog. We cried together because of the overwhelming circumstance we were in. We cried together for many other people we know who are going through it. We cried together for the people that we didn't know very well, that had passed away, that were in the hospital with Eric while he was getting treatment. We cried because we weren't sure how many more days in the world it was getting to be a better place. We cried for our children and grandchildren, that if we were gone, who would pass on the history and the legacy of our family. It was actually a good thing in the end. It was very therapeutic and cleansing. The art journal was good for me. I had to write down and paint and draw, as that's how I communicate often to myself, if to no one else, my journey. And so all that ended up being not so bad. So anyway, back to the curtain. Okay, I went out in the garage and got my little handy drill, one of my Christmas presents from my sweetheart. And so I'm going to mark down where I want to screw in this little thing here, centimeters, centimeters. So I'm going to go up about, I guess let's go the other way around, about 10 and a half maybe. I have to watch for the nails that are put in underneath. It's got screw nails in there. I think that's a good spot for that one. 10 and a half. If I don't get this hook screwed in straight, the curtain won't have straight. But the ceiling's crooked, so everything could be crooked. I was talking about something else I wanted to tell you, and I don't even remember what it was. Isn't that just so typical for someone my age? So anyways, this one I might hit that nail. There we go. The Death Cafe is very popular in other countries. My pastor here, Janice Frame, wanted really badly to, because it's an aging population on this island, she wanted us to be able to talk about grief and stuff like that. So it was summer when I went. Eric had gone through this first part of his treatments. We were still having the home care worker come. But basically, I'm going to use leverage. Basically, he was getting stronger every day, still not himself, still bald. You know, he still looked like a chemo patient, or chemo cancer patient. And, but one of the nice things that happened, one of the other nice things that happened through this whole experience is, like I said, we live in a very small community. I think there might be 100 full-time residents that aren't always here, because some of them are kind of semi-seasonal. And a lot of them were, they say the average age on the whole island is 70 years old. And I would say it's higher than that in this village. So there are a lot of people possibly going to be dealing or needing to deal with the reality that they might not live forever, or they might lose a loved one. We weren't even here very long. We were only here 6.5 years when Eric was diagnosed. And but Eric's a joiner, as I told you. He got on a lot of, because it's a small community, if you move here and they have a position needs filled, you get to fill it. But anyway, Eric has a great personality from that anyway. They threw us a party, a fundraising party, because we don't have insurance. We don't have any life insurance. We have a little bit of house insurance, the bare minimum, but we don't have life insurance. So if something happened to one of us, the other one has to carry the weight of all the finances. So here's my little curtain hemmed. So when they did that for us, and people showed up from all over the island, because Eric's a joiner, oops, I missed cutting a thread off. Because Eric's a joiner, he was part of the choir, he was on the fire department, he was on the roads board, he was in the church elder, you know, he was just really involved. And then people we hardly knew, people who knew us through their friends. Even, we actually belonged to a dance group too. I had joined what I thought were practical things when I first moved here. I joined the horticulture club, and I joined the quilting group so I could learn how to, work with the soil on a rock-based island. And so, because the house needed a lot of work, and I knew I needed to do a lot of replacing curtains and whatever. And I wanted to find women with like interests, so I'd have some companions, because I'm not as outgoing as, surprise, surprise, I'm not that outgoing. So anyways, this little community threw a dance. Two key people were involved in it, who both of them have moved away since then. They organized it, and it was a fundraiser dance. It was so well turned out. Some of our friends came. I don't even remember, maybe even our daughter and her husband. I think they came too, my oldest daughter and her husband. And we received enough money from that fundraiser to cover all those extra expenses, because Eric's over 65. The government pays for a lot of his treatment and medications. but it doesn't pay for any of the other stuff. Like we had to buy thermometers and blood pressure things and masks and all kinds of equipment, bedpan, because when he first came home he couldn't get out of bed. You know, we had to put him in another room. I had to have a call-on thing so I could hear him when he called me. It was like a mini hospital. We had to set up our house like a hospital. Anybody who's gone through cancer or having family members, you totally understand. Shannon, you work with a hospice, you get it. So we had to set all that stuff up, and I had to do all the maintenance of carrying wood and chopping wood and whatever. The people who were watching our dog felt so bad, I think that's why they did it, that they started coming over and helping me carry wood in and blowing the snow out of our laneway on the stormy. It was a miserable winter. God bless them, that they tried. You can't replace the dog we love. It was like a child. But I think that they hardly could look us in the eye. I think they felt really bad. And I would feel the same if I was caring for someone's child or dog or pet or whatever, and something horrible happened like that. And but anyways, the long and the short of it is, it helped me feel like I was part of a big family. It helped me feel that even if not this year or next year, if some year something happens really badly to one of us and we're left alone here, neither one of us would survive a senior's home. We just are too active. If one of us was left alone here, we have a community. We have a community that, God bless them, big-hearted. A lot of them were, well, maybe a third of them were church members in the little church we go to. So that, you know, I understood that compassion from them. But when everybody else, other people who we hardly even knew, came and supported us in encouragement, prayer, helping with finances, family members, a few of them helped a bit with finances, it just made me realize, even though I would maybe feel lonely, I'm not alone. Not only do I have my faith and I have God and I have messengers so I can get in contact with my kids and Facebook, I have a community here on this little island. And that's what I love about this little island. So what do you think, guys? How do you like that first curtain? I like it. I see I didn't get all the wrinkles out when I ironed it, but I can fix that. And I recycled stuff. That's all good, right? Well, that's the end of my little story for today. And I hope that if you're going through cancer treatments or you're in a relationship with someone who is, that you could find comfort in community and in prayers from the people who care for you, that you could find comfort in expressing your grief creatively. I think I might actually post a little talk about the art journal I did on my grief. And if you're creative, that might be something you can do to help you through a hard time when you're grieving or when life is bad. Or right now with COVID-19, I'm positive that many people are lonely and isolated, or maybe suffering with illness, or have a family member they've lost, or are afraid of losing. So if anything that I said today can bless you, then I thank God that He made me chatty so that I could be a part of that blessing. Have a good day. God loves you, and so do I.